Everybody, what's good? What's going on? JB here, back with another CyberInsight live stream. We're going to knock out day 4 of the TryHackMe Advent of Cyber. So we just wrapped up the day 3 challenge a couple hours ago, so figured I'd hop back on here, knock this out. This one's kind of cool. We're going to be doing some stuff with Burp Suite. So if you aren't familiar with that, Burp Suite is probably the most well-known web app pen testing tool that's out there. So yeah, definitely a cool room to do. We'll hop over into the other browser here in a second, but as always, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, share the video, all that type of stuff. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, like Kiki at the moment in the stream, you go ahead and throw those in the chat box and we will hit those up. So, all right, let's move over and do this up. Now, first off, I should say, since this is using Burp Suite, if you want a little bit more of an in-depth breakdown of Burp Suite, TryHackMe definitely does have a few rooms that do cover that. And also, I've done walkthroughs of those already. So if you go to my TryHackMe playlist, actually up at the top is an hour-and-a-half long video doing Burp Suite fundamentals. So if you enjoyed this room and you want a little bit more in-depth info, definitely go check that out. So in this particular room, you're going to need to do 2 different things as far as you're going to need to spin up your attack box, which I've already done. We have that up and ready to go. And then there also is an active machine that you're going to need for exploiting. You just hit the start machine button here and you'll be good to go with that. So we see that I already have mine spun up. So kind of continuing the story at Santa's workshop. We have McSysadmin managed to reset everyone's access from the last issue that we ran into, except for Santa's. And Santa has expected some urgent travel itinerary for his route over Christmas, but he didn't end up following the password security recommendations. So we're going to need to help him to brute force his account to be able to get access to it. So again, not great security practices up at the North Pole. But so what is the learning objectives that we're going to be covering here? So we're going to talk a little bit about authentication and where that's used. We're going to talk a little bit about fuzzing. Then we're going to go into Burp Suite. We're going to be doing 2 different things with Burp Suite. First off, we're going to be using it in proxy mode. And so what that is going to do is it's going to kind of sit in between your web browser and all the traffic that's going out to the internet. So all of the different web requests that are going to web servers will be able to be going through Burp Suite first. And what that does is it allows you to not only see the data, but you can pass that data off to different modules within Burp Suite to do different types of things, which is going to lead to the second thing that we're going to be doing, which is fuzzing, which pretty much involves us trying to guess the password for Santa's account in an automated manner. So we're going to be using the Intruder module within Burp Suite to be able to do that. And yeah, that's pretty much the basics of what the room covers. So let's hop into a little bit about authentication. Authentication is definitely one of the more fundamental things when it comes to cybersecurity and understanding, you know, how access to different things happens. And sometimes you hear authentication is mentioned as part of like AAA, which is authentication, authorization, and auditing. And so authentication means that you're just verifying a user's identity. So they're going to log in with usually an account with a password or something like that, and it establishes who they are. It doesn't necessarily authorize them to have access to certain things, and that's where the authorization part comes into play. But what it does is it grants them the ability to get into a system. They kind of talk about a few different types of methods that you can use for authentication. As I mentioned, username and password. You could use biometrics. You could use different types of tokens. And then they kind of go a little bit more into the difference between authentication and authorization, which I kind of just mentioned. So moving down to what is fuzzing, it's pretty much the automated means of testing an element of a web application. And trying to get some type of vulnerability or valuable information. In this case, we're going to be taking a password list and using that to try to brute force our way into an account. And it's going to be, it's more fuzzing because it's an automated means of that where we're using Burp Suite to be able to do that. So we're going to hop over into the attack box here and kind of get this all set up. It is worth mentioning that this part of the lab, as you walk through all this, is mostly what we're going to be doing, but there are a few different areas here where we're actually going to be taking the specific information that we need to do that is applicable to this room. So these steps here are kind of a generic walkthrough, and then there's steps down here where we're kind of going to insert them in at different steps where they're necessary. So for instance, the URL that we're going to be using, and then we already know what a username is, and then there's a password list that we need to use. So we're kind of going to just drop those in places here where they might have been using something else in this particular example. So we have the URL that we're going to go to first. So we're going to hop over in here, and I have already gone there and gone to the web page, and we can see that it is up and it is here, but we don't know what Santa's account is to be able to get into it. So we're going to go ahead and open up Burp Suite. So we're going to go up to Applications, and we're going to go to Web, and then Burp Suite Community Edition. And normally in these videos, I would already have this already set up, but since this is truly a little bit more of a intro level type of thing, I wanted to show you the exact process of what you need to click through to actually get in here, because if you don't know, then it might be a little confusing. So we're just going to go with temporary project, and we're going to hit next, and then use the defaults and hit start burp. And if anybody has a drink, then they can go ahead and take this as an opportunity. Up here it is trying to install some updates, so we're going to skip over that and not do that at the moment. And what they wanted us to do was open up Burp Suite and go to the proxy tab and make sure that the proxy was on. So open up Burp Suite, navigate to proxy, and make sure that intercept is on. So that is going to be making sure that Burp Suite is ready to handle the traffic being sent to it. So we go here and intercept is on. Now what we're going to do from the browser perspective, there's a few different ways that you can do this. You could actually set this up through the individual proxy settings within whatever browser you're using, or you could use a plugin, and they already have this already installed here and configured properly. So we're just going to use what's ready to go here in the lab, which is Foxy Proxy. And we're just going to select here for all of the traffic to actually go to Burp. Appreciate everybody saying cheers. Let me throw that up real quick because a whole bunch of people are doing that. And no, we're not using Zap. Okay, so we turned on the setting for Burp to be where all the traffic is going to be going to. And then we are just going to send some test traffic through here. Because really what we want to do is we want to get the command that's being sent from the web browser to the server that actually has a username and password, because we're then going to copy pretty much that string of text and use that as a format to use within Intruder to be able to automate, in essence, they're creating a script that's going to continually send that same string over and over again, except it's going to be inputting in the different passwords that we're going to have from a password text file. So it'll just be able to iterate over all these different passwords. So, but first we have to get what that format of the username and password that's being sent to the web server is. So we're going to hit login here. And if you go over to Burp, then you'll see that this popped up here. So depending on how you're actually using the proxy setting in here, sometimes you can have it set up to just automatically accept everything, or in this case, every single packet that comes through, you either have to approve, forward, or drop. Again, if you want to go a little bit more in depth into how the proxy stuff works, then check out that other video that I did on the Burp Suite fundamentals. But what we need to do here is we're going to highlight this string of stuff. We're going to right click and go send to Intruder. Then we're going to hop over to Intruder. Let me make sure that we follow this all the way. So we had the proxy up, we switched to Foxy Proxy, we put in a username and password. That ended up coming through, hit intercept, we saw it there, we highlighted that, right-clicked, send to Intruder, and now we are working through steps 9 and below. So the next thing within that is under the positions, we want to get rid of the pre-selected positions by hitting the clear $. So we're going to go under positions, and over here on the right-hand side is clear $. We're going to get rid of that. Okay. Now, the username that we're going to put in here, we already know because I mentioned that that was already all the way at the bottom of this stuff they give it to us. The username is Santa. So if we didn't know what the username was, we could then also use a text file that might have a whole bunch of different types of passwords. But since we already know what that is, we don't need to iterate over that when we run this job. So we can just put in Santa. Okay. And then we don't know what the password is. So we're just going to highlight this here. And we're going to go the add $. And so that pretty much is going to make that be the variable that we end up using the password list to be able to cycle through. Let's go back and see if there was anything else there that we needed to do. Username, we already covered all that. Password, this will be done by highlighting the value in the password parameter and adding the add $, which we did. Then we're going to select cluster bomb from the attack type. And then we're going to go to the payload section and pick the password file. And the password file is going to be this down here. Root rooms AOC3 day 4 passwords.txt. So let's go back over here. We did that. We're going to go to payloads. Oh, wait, we got it. The attack was going to be cluster bomb. Payloads, load. Yep, there we go. So it's AOC. We can step back up just to verify, but this should be it. Yeah. So root, rooms, AOC, day 4, passwords.txt. And then this is kind of a list of all the different passwords that are in that file. Okay. So that should be all that we needed to do with that, and we can go ahead and hit start attack. Oh, let's see. What did I do? Start attack. Between 2 and 20 payload positions. Let's see if I messed that up somewhere. We had that there. Let's clear that. Load. Passwords.txt. Let's see if there was something else. I think that was it. Now, after selecting our word list, we can see the passwords are filled in the payload options, right? Did I not? I wonder what I am missing there. Anybody have any ideas? Payload positions. Payload set. Let's see if that matches. I know that's not what it is, but we can try it and see if it does it. which it will work. So I don't know why that wasn't working the cluster bomb like that, but it wanted different payload positions. But this will should still get us the same thing. Now, to figure out which one actually worked here, you'll notice the statuses are all 200, except for one came back as 302. You can also notice the lengths. And so all the ones that fail are all going to be the same length. So pretty much you just look for the one that is a different length. So in this case, it's cookie. So we should be able to go, and we can turn the proxy off at this point. Should be able to go Santa and cookie. And there we go. And we have the key here. I realized that we really didn't go and check off any of the stuff as we were doing it, so we can just go and fill all that stuff back up on the main page. But let's go put this here. Santa delivers. We got that. So let's go fill this stuff in. So we accessed the web page. We configured Burp Suite in Firefox. What password can you use? It was cookie. And then the flag, Santa delivers, and there we go. That is room 4. Don't necessarily know why that one attack that they wanted us to do didn't work, but sometimes that's good when stuff doesn't work for you to figure out other ways that you can, deviate and get where you need to go anyway. So we'll take it. So yeah, if nobody has any other questions or comments at this point, I'm going to take one more sip of this to give anybody any time to say anything. And if not, then we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. All right, well, that sounds good to me. Hey, Kiki, appreciate you dropping in here. Hope everybody has a great evening, and yeah, we'll chat soon.